Your liver processes hundreds of chemicals before you even finish breakfast. It's the most overworked filtration system in your body. But right now, in roughly 1 in 3 adults, that system is silently clogging, accumulating fat at up to 2% per week, and most of them have no idea the damage has already started. Here's what's remarkable though. Your liver can repair itself naturally, but only if you understand what's actually destroying it. Every time you eat, your liver launches into overdrive. Within minutes, nutrients from your meal surge through the portal vein, flooding this organ with a fresh load of glucose, amino acids, and dietary fats. The response is immediate. Blood flow to the liver spikes by nearly 20%, as if someone opened the floodgates on a busy factory floor. Enzymes fire up, breaking down carbohydrates and proteins, while a special assembly line called de novo lipogenesis kicks into high gear. Here's the catch. After a meal, especially one high in sugar or refined carbohydrates, the liver does not just process nutrients. It starts converting extra glucose and fructose into new fat, packing it away for storage. This process can ramp up dramatically in the hours after eating, even in people who feel perfectly healthy. Think of the liver as a kitchen at rush hour. Chefs scramble to handle every ingredient, but when orders pile up, shortcuts happen. The fryers stay on, the dishwasher runs nonstop, and little by little, grease builds up in the pipes. For most people, these post-meal surges are harmless and temporary. But when every meal is a rush, when there is never a break, this metabolic hustle starts to take a toll. Here's what most people do not realize. It is not just what you eat, but how often you ask your liver to work overtime that sets the stage for trouble. The real danger comes when these spikes become routine, pushing the liver from a well-oiled machine into a system that is constantly fighting to keep up. Day after day, the numbers start to ADD up. When calorie intake consistently outpaces what the body burns, just 500 extra calories a day, the liver begins to store more fat than it can clear. Over the course of a week, that can mean a 1 to 2% increase in liver fat, measurable on MRI scans. Most people picture fat building up around the waist, but inside the liver, it is a quieter process, one that does not set off alarms until the pipes are already clogged. Here's what most people miss. It is not just about calories. High fructose foods and sugary drinks hit the liver especially hard. Fructose is metabolized almost entirely by the liver, and when it arrives in a steady stream, it gets rapidly converted into triglycerides. This not only fills liver cells with fat, but also generates uric acid, a compound that stresses mitochondria, the cell's power plants. Over weeks of repeated overload, mitochondrial function drops and the liver's ability to burn fat slows down. Alcohol adds another layer of stress. Each drink forces the liver to divert resources to break down ethanol, depleting NAD+, a molecule essential for energy production and repair. With less NAD+ available, fat metabolism grinds to a halt and toxic byproducts build up. The result? A perfect storm of fat accumulation, oxidative stress, and early cellular injury. But here's where it gets dangerous. These changes can happen with no warning signs. MRI studies show that even healthy adults can develop a 5% increase in liver fat within just a few weeks of regular overeating or drinking. It is a silent shift, but one that sets the stage for more serious damage if the overload continues. Hidden danger often arrives quietly. The liver can accumulate fat and take damage for months before anyone feels a thing. But long before symptoms show up, the body leaves clues if you know where to look. Routine blood tests may suddenly show transaminase enzymes, ALT and AST, nudging up to 2 or 3 times the upper limit of normal. That is not a full-blown crisis, but it is a warning. Cells are leaking their contents, signaling distress. Even more telling is a blood marker called cytokeratin 18, CK18. When liver cells start to die off, CK18 levels rise, sometimes weeks before standard enzymes cross the danger line. In research studies, high CK18 often predicts which patients are headed for more serious trouble, like NASH or early fibrosis. Imaging tells a deeper story. An ultrasound or fibroscan can spot as little as 5% fat in the liver, even if your enzymes look fine on paper. These scans are sensitive enough to catch silent steatosis, the earliest stage of damage, before it spirals out of control. In fact, guidelines now recommend imaging for anyone at risk, not just those with abnormal labs. A real-world case brings this to life. A 52-year-old woman, pre-diabetic, walks into the clinic feeling tired but otherwise well. Her baseline labs show ALT at 85, just above normal. An MRI reveals 30% liver fat. She is not alone. Millions walk around with similar numbers, never suspecting their liver is quietly struggling. This is the tipping point. The alarms are sounding, even if you cannot hear them. The next move decides whether the liver breaks down further or begins to heal. A remarkable thing happens the moment the overload stops. Within just 24 to 48 hours of cutting back on alcohol or excess calories, the liver's cleanup crew springs into action. Damaged cells trigger a process called autophagy. Think of it as a molecular recycling system where old or clogged parts are broken down and cleared away. This is not slow work. Studies show fat droplets start to vanish and stressed-out mitochondria get replaced almost immediately. In fact, measurable changes on MRI scans can appear in as little as 1 week. But here is what most people do not realize. The liver does not just clean house, it rebuilds. Healthy liver cells, called hepatocytes, begin to multiply and fill in the gaps left by their worn-out neighbors. Over a few weeks, billions of these cells are renewed, restoring lost function. That is why many people see their liver enzymes, like ALT and AST, drop back toward normal within a month of real change. A real-world example brings this to life. A 48-year-old man drinking 4 drinks a day stopped completely. In just 10 weeks, his ALT plummeted from 120 to 40, and his liver fat dropped by more than a third. The turnaround was visible on his scans and on his lab chart. But there is a catch. If scar tissue fibrosis has already set in, the process slows. Early-stage fibrosis can shrink with months of healthy habits, but advanced scarring is harder to reverse. The liver's power to heal is real, but it works best when you act before the damage goes too far. The bottom line, repair starts fast, and the body is ready to rebuild the moment you give it a chance. The next step is knowing which habits make the biggest difference. The science is clear. Small, steady changes make a big impact on liver repair. The strongest lever, by far, is weight loss. Dropping just 5 to 10% of body weight, think 10 to 20 pounds for most adults, can slash liver fat by up to 30%. It is a dose-response effect. For every single percent of weight lost, MRI scans show about a 3% drop in fat inside the liver. This is not theory. It has been measured in real people, week after week. Even a modest calorie deficit, 500 fewer calories a day, can start the process. Within a month, measurable changes appear on scans. Drop 7% of your weight, and you may see liver enzymes like ALT fall back into the normal range. But here is what most people do not realize. Exercise works even if the scale does not budge. Structured aerobic and resistance training, about 150 minutes a week, can lower liver fat by 7 to 12%, independent of weight loss. That is right. The benefits show up on imaging, even if your pant size stays the same. The liver responds to movement, not just to dieting. The Mediterranean diet, rich in olive oil, nuts, and whole grains, delivers extra power. Studies show it can cut liver fat by another 5 to 15%, even after adjusting for weight change. It is not about starving yourself or chasing miracle foods. It is about consistent, sustainable steps. Eat better, move more, and watch the numbers shift in your favor. Forget quick fixes. The data proves real. Lasting change comes from these evidence-based levers. Quick fixes promise miracles, but the reality is far less glamorous, and sometimes far more dangerous. The shelves are crowded with detox teas, liver cleanse kits, and miracle supplements that claim to flush toxins or melt fat overnight. But here is what most people do not realize. These products are not just unproven, they can actually cause harm. The FDA has issued warning letters to dozens of companies for marketing untested liver detox pills and teas. Some products contain hidden laxatives or diuretics, leading to dehydration and electrolyte imbalances. Others, like high-dose green tea extract capsules, have landed people in the hospital. In 2023, a 35-year-old man developed severe liver injury, including jaundice, very high ALT and AST levels, and increased bleeding risk after just 4 weeks on a so-called liver support supplement. He recovered only after emergency care, and a nationwide recall followed his case. Popular herbal remedies do not get a free pass either. Milk thistle, often hailed as a cure-all, has failed to show meaningful benefits in large reviews. Systematic studies found no real impact on liver fat or scarring, and some batches have even been contaminated with toxins. The bottom line is, there is no shortcut, no drink, no pill that can replace evidence-based habits. The liver's own repair system works best when you give it real support, not false hope from a bottle. Right now, nearly 1 in 3 adults faces silent liver strain, often with no warning signs. But here's what most people do not realize. Real repair starts with daily choices, not miracle fixes. The body's best detox is built in. Every meal, every habit is a chance to clear the pipes. Stay vigilant.